Adam Zegna Abudulai is my guest this afternoon. Mimi official pa. Me who watch it. I'm say official pa na man na me so mic ne.
Okay, I forgot to.
We are recording.
Oh, nyame adu.
E de nyame ase. About me. Yeah. Say ebusanfo ho ye.
Oh. Israel do obi a ho ye.
E de nyame ase.
Na ho no so e.
Nyame adom yo so ho ye papa. Before I start some comment, let me refresh kind of adwene on exactly a simple thing President Akufo-Addo kai about Burkina Faso and the diplomatic route that it created in Kakra.
Today, Russian mercenaries are on our northern border. Burkina Faso has now entered in Togo, Mali, and our forces. I believe a mine in southern Burkina has been allocated to them as a form of payment for their services. Prime Minister Burkina last 10 days has been in Moscow. And to have them operating on our northern border is particularly distressing for us in Ghana. Apart from not accepting the idea of great powers once again making Africa their theater of operation, we have a particular position that you know about over the Ukraine war, where we have been very, very vocal and upfront about condemning the invasion of Russia by Russia. And therefore, then now to have this group at our borders is a matter of some considerable disquiet and concern for us. We really like to have a privileged opportunity to talk about its implications and what we believe ought to be the case. This is what took place with the discussion in the Congress yesterday, which I found very fruitful. And I would like the themes of that discussion should be the themes that we should continue to address.
Voice of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the former President of the Republic. We a sideline meetings a course so UN General Assembly be President Akufo-Addo share Secretary of State of the United States or Kansan Semu nyina fa Burkina Faso ho e de kire wo mo, and when officials of Burkina Faso te asemo no omo ani anje, and indeed omo someone in ambassador owo Emma Omututona no, it created a big issue. And Ibrahim Traore, on about 3 different occasions, took a swipe at Nana Addo Pa. Significantly, we saw John Dramani Mahama take a different approach, inviting him to the inauguration. And then, exactly 1 week, the John Dramani Mahama isi Abemiano so. Adam. You baby Ponko Kakania go back to 7th January.
Yes.
Jumedia Ekoso. For you as a foreign policy observer, international relations observer, and all of that, Tofabomo no Obeka Sesa event, you know, it make any statement to the international community, Anna.
We're making a very, very, very big statement in the international community because this means John Dramani Mahama obviously at least diplomatically.
Okay.
It is like me sure say in the ACS in a position no planning how he's going to govern, how he's going to relate with the Committee of Nations and so on, because Nkofona by inauguration, those he invited.
Yeah.
It means they were very, very specific, group of leaders. You see, some of them diplomatically elected, and also through the barrel of the gun.
Yeah.
You see, but at that point in time, when you say they are the leaders of those countries, you see, and on our first say antagonizing those people, no. MY, because at that point in time, a sovereign country. This is our leader.
Yeah.
And so even if you don't really agree with the method with which Oba power no, like ultimately can say because of sad you having diplomatic relationship with the person. So I say it's also
for you, Ebasana, it is not about the personality, also the nation, the country.
Exactly.
Okay.
And how it will benefit Ghana.
Okay.
That's how I see things from John Mahama Nipe view. Because ultimately who say like he doesn't mind like whoever a leader is, whether or military attack and I say civilian attack, no, they
okay.
You see, so that is why you could see that we had the Kenyan president diplomatically elected, and Ibrahim Traore, who I think many others. I think the Guinean president also by Niger, and Mali Subai. You see, so very strategic. Now, opposite or sending message to all this country say this is like a new dispensation. Oba, he has a very different approach to liaising with these countries.
But how does Akufo-Addo's posture, Ghana, your foreign policy in relation to President Akufo-Addo, what will be your analysis? Decision will take here regarding Burkina Faso, Niger, Mali. That decision was not just Ghana decision, but it was an ECOWAS decision.
Yes.
Is it not in tandem with your foreign policy?
Well, also foreign policy, they are determined by every government.
Okay.
Because, Mama example, in 1960, your constitution at that time, your constitution, now I can say it sort of like placed the African Union and the realization of the African Union above Yankasa.
Okay.
Your country, because now I can say I think the preamble to it. Now I can say I think the constitution is the supreme law of the land, but in the event you be achieve the United States of Africa, that will now what
supersede the constitution.
Exactly, and that was in Nkrumah.
Okay,
but we say. When Buzia came, he also had a very different way of doing things. And then we saw what happened. The Ghana must go inside you see. So, we say the political traditions, are more very, very, very different. So we can't say Ghana. This is because like I understand the question because we compare Ghana to the US. Between the US, they have a consistent
standing foreign policy.
Exactly.
Whoever president must toe the line.
Exactly.
But
Okay. And it's very obvious, at least from this present government and then the Nanado government.
Okay.
Because to me say with Nanado and then the NPP, they cherish their friendship with the Bretton Woods people.
Okay.
The Western
traditional big boys.
Exactly.
Okay.
France, US, UK. They are very loyal to them.
Okay.
You see, but so they also antagonize Russia a lot. Per se, with Russia so much. You see, even the audio that you played, which will say like he had some sort of disdain towards the Russia. The Russian government only operations for Burkina Faso. Meanwhile, at some point in time during his tenure, we had the French troops in Burkina Faso. So but the ratio is not a problem. You see, so obviously, to me, say now he was leaning towards the West.
The West. And of course, he was rewarded by France.
Yes.
So an award.
Exactly. See, so for Ghana, it depends on the government.
Okay, and if it depends on the government, it also means to say, or is it the case to say, a foreign policy determined by a political philosophy and
yes.
The NDC is more socialist inclined.
Yes.
That would mean say foreign policy a better towards countries one more semblance of socialism.
Yes.
Even before John Mahama became president, he took a trip to Russia.
Yeah.
Before the election also occurred Russia. Among will be some questions about it and all of that. We had the history of NDC. Woman Cuba. Abuache,
yes,
the Chinese Communist government. Exactly. I think it is becoming clear to me.
Yes,
the way I Nanado the foreign policy practice and the posture John Mahama so ateki.
Yes.
Yes,
and another thing to say, the NDC governments cherish South-South cooperations.
What is that?
I mean, among yeah, third world countries are.
Okay.
Especially in the Committee of Nations here, just in ECOWAS.
Okay.
Into your relations with Burkina Faso, with Cote d'Ivoire, are very important to the government.
Okay.
NDC government. That's why we say John Mahama. We had about 21 African heads of state for his inauguration, because say he welcomes that kind of foreign relation. You see, so that's South relation. Apart from say NDC, are moving towards the left. So that's China and then Russia and all that. But the South cooperation is very important to the party too.
But under Kufuor, we saw a lot of South activities in Sopao. Kufuor, one a kind of saying. African peer review mechanism that is when he used the term and phrase fellow feeling for your African brother. We saw a lot of that. He led a lot of broke a lot of peace within the continent. That is also more South.
Yes. He adopted that because as for it is a smart way of developing your country, because trade relations. Who are going to do trade with? And yet Togo for Cote d'Ivoire for Burkina for. You see, so why I say at least every government you cherish that, but the reason I make us say the NDC cherishes that more. You say because in its political philosophy, which means say they lean more towards the African brother. You see, they don't really care so much about our economic strength.
Okay.
You see, say economy or junk status and no, it's about the Committee of Nations, and then that has that semblance to Kwame Nkrumah.
Okay.
Many time. You see, so yes, exactly. So that's how it is.
Interesting. Join me. What questions be also about media about as we have this conversation live on Facebook. Ubeti me the questions na bana Majibre akenkan edi amao. Adam Zegna Abdullah my guest na yehe the diplomatic practice and foreign policy direction of John Dramani Mahama. We haven't seen it in blueprinted yet, but bibi makum yunumi and sembi from
Ocean his speech no so he made a lot of indications, you see, but one very clear, especially with the BRICS so
they're deliberate now.
They're very deliberate. So yes, because at that point in time, say and yet South from Kwana. Attended the inauguration. We had, a delegation from the Western countries and all that thing here. So, of course,
Joe Biden, a mayor of LA.
You see, so he teased Sa union with the BRICS nations. You see, because like I say, the global arena has changed. You see, and this fact, because this is what.
But that was a bold,
a very bold thing to say.
Yes. Because I'm wondering, G7 nations,
yes,
especially when Ghana is a strategic country to their interest.
Yes. But Ojoni breaks are. I'm just saying this. Ojoni breaks are essentially because India is an integral part of BRICS. They are actually part of the founding members of BRICS.
Yeah.
You see, but India and the US are more very good, trade relations. You see, and diplomatic relations.
Okay.
You see, the thing is, the philosophy of the G7 is stronger than the philosophy of BRICS, because BRICS, I feel are more back together. You see, they are trying to find them. Exactly. You see, and now. Some of the foreign policies of maybe China and Russia will not really be in tandem with a country like India.
Okay.
You see, because when you say, as for when you say Russia and US, only sort of political enemies. You see, but it's not the same with India and US.
Yeah.
You see, in India, say India. BRICS, you're forming some policy say we are antagonizing the US. What's the mechanism? You see, so we can use the India example. You see,
and survive.
Okay. Because anyway, here, although the president of Ghana, he has to make his country survive. It's who say the BRICS is actually gaining some prominence in the Committee of Nations at this point in time. If he decides to join, I think that is if it works out, then that's all good.
And also create limited support to be a from the G7 nations and so on.
A bit more creative, but at this point in time, I'm going to say this is the best time for him to join
BRICS.
Yes, or person joining around this point in time with Trump being president.
Okay,
because Trump, only in the foreign policy did that, isolationism. You see, America first. And he has already started, some issues with some of the G7 members.
Yeah.
The threat of buying Denmark.
He has also extended an invitation to Canada.
Yes,
to join the US.
You see, of course, it's going to cause some friction between them as, or a very good relationship with the Italian Prime Minister. Yeah. But apart from her, he doesn't have a very good relationship with Keir Starmer. Only very good relationship with Macron.
Yeah.
You see, so as a group, only united to, exactly, okay. And then to maybe to punish us in the event joining this thing, the BRICS Union.
But they may not as a bloc, but
yes,
individually,
yes, but I think it just depends on how we go about it.
Okay.
Seneca say he has to look at the interest of Ghana.
Yeah.
It's also say like India with the economic situation, it is best for us to join because BRICS are more some superpowers. Yeah. You see, like Russia and China. India so bad.
Yeah.
See, they can really support us.
Yeah.
You see, Oshana who say Ojoni BRICS a bit more I'm not sure maybe he can let's go some aid from UK or France in the event or more threatening here. You see, so you have to look at the cost benefit analysis. Then see what to do.
Former President Nana Addo take an executive decision and a change the diplomatic ties I made Sahara Arab Democratic Republic war for the past 45 years. Through 1979, Yene Sahara Arab Democratic Republic are maintaining diplomatic ties. But it appears that we departed from Sadiano. President Akufo-Addo etwa Yene Omayon Kufanimu some few weeks before Abosora Kunyano. So, what do you make of that decision? And implications in terms of how we are seen and as a I withdraw your support for
Western Sahara.
Yeah.
To be fair to Nana Addo,
a bit okay before then, help us understand. Say, SADR or mind bank.
Okay. And so SADR, they have been under Moroccan, occupation for years now.
Okay.
So can I say before we had this version of the African Union, we had the OAU. And at that point, now Morocco can home. You see, but because of the issue with the Western Sahara, say person sort of colonizing they withdrew from the Union in 1984.
Okay, Western Sahara and Morocco.
No, Morocco withdrew. You see, and in 2017. Back.
Because the union did not agree.
They don't agree, yes.
Until Omo agree, so Omo colonize Western Sahara.
No. Yes.
And Omo Chum free organization.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And now Musamba back in 2017. Okay. 2017. You see, after because African nations Omo voted and Omo voted say Omo back. Yes. Part of the reason Omo voted say Omo back and say, of course, Morocco no.
Yes,
Morocco in Africa there. We're one of the big boys. You see. And now the compromise, at that point in time, they say Western Sahara will remain a part of the African Union.
Okay.
You see, so that's it.
And recognized as a state.
Yes, recognized as a state, because if they are part of it, and they are recognized as a state, you see, that's a very, very important part too, because recognition is very important to international relations. You see, so can say like ABI, we are going to be harsh on Nana Addo. We are going to criticize him for not recognizing Western Sahara, it will be a little harsh on it because the entire African Union and Kasa, they sort of, allowed it by adding, Morocco to the African Union.
Okay.
You see, because now, as you said, as you just intimated, recognition, it's also another different thing. Mm-hmm. So maybe the Union, they may recognize Western Sahara, but individual countries, we don't recognize Western Sahara because of their allegiance to Morocco.
Your interest in Morocco may be taking such a decision. So I quite say a back critical partner as a country like Ghana. You see, interest between Morocco and Western Sahara interest. Your name Morocco, I don't know Edi Muchen and Western Sahara.
Exactly, because economic wise, no, but you see, and see that's how I see it from Nanado's point of view.
But was it that bad? We do some so we had to take a decision, and that decision a bit effect in saying. Would that mean say now the Morocco Ghana say on recognize it? Western Sahara being there, then Morocco is taking over Western Sahara. What is the impact of that decision?
The decision not to recognize Western Sahara.
Yes.
It's it makes Western Sahara or more case very weak. Bad. Yes.
Okay.
Because you don't have other countries supporting you or recognizing you. And they are very, very important.
Recognition,
very important because I say even with Israel.
Yeah.
After Zionists declare say this is now a state in less than an hour, US recognizing Israel as a state.
Yeah.
So recognition is very, very important. And the
way they moved their embassy to Jerusalem,
it says a lot. You see, because other countries are the UN, they don't recognize Israel as a country.
Yeah,
it happens. Yeah. You see, so that decision by the Nanado government, it's a very big decision. Honestly,
a very sensitive one.
A very sensitive one. Me, from my point of view, I thought it was a bit unnecessary.
Okay.
Because we could have had relations with them.
Yes,
essentially. But we wanted to show our commitment to Morocco and the Moroccan cause. And Untina, I have to say,
because you know, free West. I
have to say China and Taiwan.
Okay.
The one China policy. Taiwan, you can have very serious problems with China.
Yeah.
You see, so you see. So yes, we can't really do it because like I say, this is what I was doing.
But with what you have established with John Mahama and NDC for philosophy,
Yeah.
What do you see going forward in terms of your SADR? Versus our decision.
Very possible.
Because of the South.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because Mahama, who say, and the NDC, they don't discriminate.
Okay.
As a self-determination, this animal like the freedom fighters cause, very important
revolution.
Very important part of the tenets of the party. And of course, like it will be a little hypocritical of the NDC to say that in diplomatic relations with country A because military junta. Exactly. So, and shocking me, say the Mama administration reopen diplomatic relations with Western Sahara.
Interesting.
Yes.
The next foreign affairs minister, the task as Manu Power.
Because just as GDM said, the world has changed.
Yeah.
And the Trump abdication of leadership in the world stage, are presenting so many opportunities. You see, China, one person more faster opportunity to at least assert their domination.
Okay.
You see, and I'll be honest with him, say part of the objective of BRICS is to bring an alternative to the domination of the dollar.
The dollar, okay.
You see, the foreign affairs minister was very, very, very strategic.
Okay.
You see, to make sure, because even though Trump has abdicated, leadership in the international community,
what does that mean? So abdicating leadership?
Yeah, because the US, they are for lack of a better word, they are the top dogs of the world. You see, exactly. Drive agenda. You see, in the G7. You see, even in the Security Council, drive agenda at any point in time. And so they have, almost their biggest assets, any alliances.
Okay.
You see, so that is why they have NATO. The biggest military alliance, I mean, on the face of the earth. Exactly. You see, so their alliance drive the US agenda.
Okay.
Into Omonia president are very, antithetic to Sir Alliance, it's fighting with allies, having some of these petty problems with them. Elon Musk, so see, I'm a friend of the first friend of the US. Only Keir Starmer. He's accusing Keir Starmer of being complicit in some is it a rape issue or something? You see, all these things aside diplomatic relations between the G7 and the West. Until at that point in time, what third world country, which me exactly.
I say it's see who abakwan.
You see, now
asunu me no konana na moment.
You see, now like I said, you can focus your agenda on individual G7 countries. Okay. You see, it's not as a committee, not as a G7. With me, Italy, then foster relations with them. Send a then they will help you. You see, now I call UK, now I call France.
We approaching blocks. We approaching individual nations.
At least in the West. You see, but JDM can, in the last 5 years, the GDP of the BRICS Union, it has increased exponentially as compared to G7. Until what could grow now, can say at this point in time, I think is the best opportunity for me to join BRICS. Not joining BRICS. You see, but of course, joining BRICS, you have to make sure, say, you have any very hard line stances because a lot of the political issues. Regards to saying another look say or supporting Ukraine in the Russian-Ukraine war. You don't meddle such stance. Exactly, you don't meddle so much in it because. 1 year now, I'm not sure Russia have a problem with you. Because Russia and Casamope friends. That is why
they feel isolated.
Yeah, they feel isolated. That's why they are pitching their tents in Burkina Faso, in Mali, in Chad, in the Sahel states. You see, because they want that friendship. And these countries too, Russia in the UN General Assembly, at least they don't feel alone so much. You see, so Obitmia play the game in some very strategic way.
Interesting.
Knowing that yes, you are getting what you want from these countries, but not stepping on toes too much.
When I be honest, it's interesting. In common, but going forward, the outlook needs to say now. Are there any predictions? Then ABCC, then I mean, if you look at Senator Makwa. On the African front, I'm sure, sir, and of course, over here, 2024, a lot of the African countries went through elections. But most countries in the world went through elections. So you have a number of new leaders and some also continuing and all of that. In Tiababu, regional leadership and also so changes kakraba.
Yes.
Where do you see John Mahama in the Committee of Nations, ECOWAS, AU? Ghana playing a prominent role?
Very, very, very much.
Okay.
John Mahama's ascendancy to the presidency, I presented ECOWAS with a very good opportunity to bring back the lost three.
What's that? The lost three?
Mali.
Okay.
Any Burkina Faso. Any Niger. Someone free union.
Exactly.
So, because of his, for lack of a better word, uncanny way of relating with them, because because I was actually very surprised. Because ABA or power, then he will start these relations.
It appears to say relationship.
Yes, and Ibrahim Traore so about 2022. I don't know when it even started. You see, so I mean, of course, I don't want to sound very complimentary, but. It is actually nice to see. You see, because already Omar Taske, the Senegalese president, and then I think one of the other presidents Togolese president, to try and then have some diplomatic talks with the three.
Norman Brabak.
You see, and at least a 6-month period, because at least I think December, and ECOWAS officially approved say
Nana Boni who be the sure say Burkina Faso no soften almost stance.
Yeah, you see,
they have an issue too with Tinubu.
Oh yes, Tinubu like or say exactly, because right from scratch no. So now I suggested
anyone who wear only my friend was soldier for some they don't want to see them.
Only sadly military intervention idea no, not a very very bad. So okay, I say like when they started having these coups and things, no, and they threatened to leave, no. Now I say we should employ some. I think the Chad issue, Chad issue. Now I say because Chad is the most recent one.
Raising an army to attack.
Can you imagine? You see that was a very bad idea. And some people in America, some people can say that idea was forward from the West.
Okay.
You see, because Sana, the US, but of course, this is.
It is possible. It is highly possible. I mean, because in fact, it was one of the things Sana made say, and very usual of ECOWAS.
Yes.
Say, Yahuku, our country, Bina, ECOWAS will issue a stern statement and say, and threaten to attack. No. And yet very usual. And just still a time Ukraino, George, yes, there was diplomatic talk and all of that. I send you more Chastela free Liberia. Then before Ghana, I'm going to call Nigeria later, Chile and all of that. It was very unusual of
very unusual
ECOWAS to come out like that.
It's kind of surprising. We say it's Tinubu now.
I say it was fueled by the West.
Exactly.
But with Tinubu still there and other African presidents almost supported our agenda, no. Do you see success in some common no say the lost three bit me back to join the ECO?
Oh, I think it's possible because already the lost three, no. From the lost three, include the lost three, no.
And remember back from the prodigal three.
The potential prodigal three, no. Or more. Free ECOWAS no. Can say still ECOWAS citizens have
their liberties and rights.
Yes, to enter freely and things and duty. If I didn't put what is it visa free and
after 90 days.
Yes, and all that you see. So what means say they are there's no any very bad breakup. You see, so you can see that
now they were threatening to constitute themselves into.
Oh, they've already done that. The alliance of
it is that bad.
Yes, no. But say
they
can come back. And John Mama can do it. You see. It depends on how it goes. It depends on the support and then the kind of argument you see, so that is what I will say. But obviously, I'm not the one.
But definitely, ECOWAS will have very, very strict conditions.
Yes.
To come back, you have to either transition to democracy or will be about organize elections.
Of course, yes. Those are part
of those guys are not ready to do any of those.
Yes, that's where one of the problems is because Ibrahim Traoré, Oka said his timetable after his assumption to power. Oka said in 2024 July, Oba organize elections. Ebedu Satam now say he has to stay for 5 more years because of the security issues. But if you look at things, he has a point because almost half of Burkina Faso has been ceded to the Islamic insurgents. You see, it's a very serious security issue. And listen now, against his own
because I say I did not also more yet to deal with them and the soldiers were demotivated allowances and call and all of that. It's no more fighting insurgency.
Yes,
and anyway,
you see, so it's Jomama or Juma Japan, whoever is going to be the foreign affairs minister is going to be very busy
because you see, foreign affairs minister also clout now. Oje Jumane more because John Mahama has more domestic issues to deal with.
Yes.
We had the state of the economy, any issues I hold over. Say or the foreign commitments we so can't the top list one. And you may not be effective even back home.
True.
Now, question, Chroma, they be out there when the African nations, China, Ufi, bread. But into the foreign affairs minister, she say, I was very active and proactive.
But be really maybe.
This all coming here.
There's some very serious issue. Like you say, Ghana, Ubisa, Ubiawo, Ghana, say, what are the issues here? We have a economy.
Yeah.
But one threatening issue, it could be an issue. I was saying like you need to now your service issue. I want to make sure say Assembly any security.
Yeah, security.
Yes, because Burkina Faso say more fight the Islamic jihadism. They are taking territory in Burkina Faso. And also, issue Boko just at the border.
Yeah.
Just in Napa East. You see, when say these armed groups almost thrive in areas are conflict
that.
You see, so we have very serious security issues. Make sure say Mahama. Yes, because
exactly. Stable. Right through
exactly. I'm also like can say idea for the whole Burkina Faso major one. You see, no so that is it. Exactly. It's a very, very important issue. I will say it need to
I will say it's serious because my team police need we share only interested in your work. We're interested in now agent can drive. I mean, such a nation you can be taken by surprise at any time.